Oh, it didn't play the intro. Good evening, everybody. Welcome into Snow The Goalie. No Russ here tonight, so of course we're operating a little bit more challenged than usual. But apparently it was his fault, right, Andrew, that it didn't play the intro? No, you don't need to play it. It's all Russ's fault. I like when we have things that we can blame Russ for. I'm Anthony SanFilippo here with Chris Therien. Bundy, it's good to have you here. Thank you for making it in. I know Russ is not with us tonight.
I had another engagement tonight. When I realized that it might just be you, I canceled the other one to make sure I was at the playoff edition of Snow the Goalie. Unlike Russ,
yes,
who bailed on us tonight for an okay reason, but not really good enough.
I will just put it this way. When I told Maria why Russ isn't here, she's like, "You've missed that for me so many times."
Yeah, right.
She's like, whatever. Anyway, good evening, everyone. Welcome in. We are live at Chickies and Pete's in Drexel Hill, PA, my hometown Chickies and Pete's. And we've got a lot to talk about tonight. I have a feeling this hour is going to fly by pretty quick, Bundy. Flyers come in down 2-0 to the Carolina Hurricanes. I was down in Raleigh for both of those games. First one was just flat out ugly. The second one, they were the better team and still came up short.
Yeah.
We'll get into all that, but I think we need to tackle the news of the day first and foremost. I was over in Voorhees earlier today when Rick Tocchet announced that Noah Cates will be out for the remainder of the series with a lower body injury. But what I can tell you is that it looked like he took a pass or a shot. I wasn't exactly sure what the intent was in the first period, about 8 minutes to go in the first period, off of his right foot.
Right.
All right. And if you go back and look at the video, I believe our friend Jackie Spiegel from the Inquirer has it up on her Twitter account. It looks like that's when it happened. You could see that he's a little hobbled afterwards. You've been in that situation where it hurts, but you could still play through it until you take the boot off. Obviously, that's when things get worse. After the game is over, we're doing post-game interviews, and then they tell us, okay, we're going to go talk to Rick Tocchet in at the media room. So you have to walk back past the Flyers locker room to go to that media room. And as we're walking back, there's Noah Cates riding on one of the equipment trunks that's on wheels, being pushed by the trainer, and he's holding Cates is holding a walking boot in his hand.
Right.
So you knew then this wasn't a great deal for him, and now all of a sudden he's going to miss. This is a big miss for them, buddy.
Yeah.
They're losing Noah Cates is probably bigger than most people realize.
Yeah, it's a huge injury because he brings such good two-way play to the Flyers team, and he does a great job defensively checking, keeping guys at bay in the D zone when they're making plays. So, yeah, that'll be a big loss. He really, really fills a void on a lot of those lines for that defensive prowess and also some of the offense that he's provided late down the stretch for the Flyers this year playing with Mishkov. So, yeah, that's a tough injury to absorb, but the Flyers are going to have to figure out their way through it.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about how they're going to work their way through it. But one of the things I wanted to just focus on Noah Cates for a second. Tocchet talked about, he said, the Stankoven line has been a little bit of an Achilles heel for them. It was for Ottawa as well. They were great in that series against Ottawa. But that Tocchet at least felt they've done a nice job against the remaining three lines that Carolina has. And the rest of them haven't really, done a lot. It's only really been the Stankoven line, especially 5-on-5. When you lose Noah Cates, who is a down ballot Selke guy, right? He's going to get some 4th and 5th place votes, whatever.
Right.
But when you lose that kind of player, and he's an all situations guy. I mean, I know the power play stinks, but he's on it.
Yeah.
He's one of the key people on the penalty kill.
Yep.
When you lose that player, and you're asking multiple guys to fill in those roles, while some guys might step up, you just can't fill all those holes, can you?
No, not with replacing a guy who does a job so well like Kate. So you're going to ask other guys. Guys are going to have to slot up in the lineup or slot down in the lineup, depending what they're going to do. They'll move Zegras back to center now.
Yep.
That'll give them their 4 centers again for tomorrow night. Zegras, Couturier or Glendening, depending on how you look at it. Call it Coots for now.
Dvorak
and
Denver Barkey.
Denver Barkey, right.
Yeah. So that's exactly what Tocchet told us today. It's going to be those 4 guys that are going to play in the center role. And let's talk about Denver Barkey first, because I think he's been a real interesting guy in this series. Ever since he gets moved to the center spot, he got moved there like partway through game 1. It looked like he just looked better in that role than on the wing. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, he looks like he's like kind of like adopted that position and made it his own here, But he plays the game so fair. The way that he attacks the game, the way that he plays the game, he goes to the front of the net, he goes into the gray areas, he tries to win puck battles in the corners. I mean, he does everything you think a guy that's 6'3" would be doing, but he's 5'7". I mean, he's a tiny little guy.
Yeah, he is, and it's interesting, right? Because you wouldn't think that a guy of his size and his stature would be successful in any way playing that position. And yet I think he uses what he does really well, Bundy, is he's such a smart player. It's his hockey IQ, right? He knows how to he can figure out where he needs to be and what he needs to do. And he can process that very quickly.
Yep.
Right? And I think that's what I like about him. I'm not telling you, sitting here trying to tell you that Denver Barkey is going to be a superstar player, but what I'm telling you is that he's not going to hurt you.
No, he's not.
Right?
He's going to make the right play 95% of the time. He's going to try to get into the gray areas 100% of the time.
Right.
I mean, the only knock on him is his size.
Right.
That's it. I mean, he plays the game like a warrior, like a bigger guy, but he's just not that big, not a big man of stature at all. So he's got to find ways to get around that to make up for his lack of size.
One of the things that I found interesting when we were talking about Barkey today was Rick Tocchet said that a couple weeks ago, and the first time that this discussion came up about Denver Barkey potentially being a center was a few weeks back towards the end of the regular season. And they were having a discussion about, like, there were some issues at center and they were trying to figure some stuff out. And Tocchet goes, I'll be honest with you guys, Jonesy came up to me and said, don't be afraid to try Barks
at center. Yeah.
Kind of interesting, right? That came from Jonesy.
Yeah.
That he was the big advocate for Denver Barkey there.
Yeah. And it takes a lot to move a guy off that spot onto a center line from moving from the wing, especially being such a raw guy, right? Playing in this league for the first time.
Right.
And getting acclimated to it. So no, I mean, he's done a really good job. And it shows you the Flyers, that they're by committee. Everyone's can wheel around some suggestions, but that's a good one by Jonesy to say, hey, give him a shot at center. It may be a pretty good thing.
Yeah, for sure. Now, as far as other places that you got to replace Noah Cates, I think the one that's more important is the penalty kill. Like at the power play, you could throw 5 names against the wall and say, all right, let's try these 5 guys. It's not a good power play. But let's say penalty kill. So there's 2 facets of this. One, he's not only is he a good penalty killer, but he's also a guy who can take draws.
Yeah.
Right. So because Coots can't be on there every time you're killing a penalty for 2 full minutes. Right. So somebody else has to come on. So I think it's going to be a combination of things. And the way that in listening to how he was a little all over the place talking about it today, but it sounded like Carl Grundstrom is going to get onto the PK a little bit more in game 3. But that when they need a draw and you can't go to Couturier, it's going to be Christian Dvorak.
Okay.
That gets that.
Okay.
So that's what it sounds like they're going to do there. You've been around hockey for so long, and you look at a guy like Carl Grundstrom, hadn't played at all in the playoffs, right? Comes in game 2. I thought he was really good.
Yeah, early he was.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, the fourth line just in general, right, was good. I mean, he makes the play that leads to Couturier's goal. He forces the turnover and then makes the pass to Coots right out in front. A guy like that, I mean, he's been around the league for a long time. He is kind of that fringy 12th, 13th forward kind of guy. But because of his experience and because, he's been around so long, is that a guy that you could say, hey, let me throw you a little bit more responsibility and feel comfortable that he'll do the job?
Yeah, especially being a depth forward. I mean, he did come in last game. He tried to shoot that puck before he ended up getting it back behind the net again and put it out to Coots. But no, he does a good job on the boards. He never hurts your team. Sometimes he's one of those guys, he plays, but you never mention his name because you never put the team in any kind of danger,
right,
or in a bad situation. So yeah, he'll be a guy that's going to be called upon to kind of help out in the committee to make up for the loss of Noah Cates. whether you get him on the penalty kill. I mean, I think that's a good spot to put him right there to give him more time on that. But he brought a lot of energy the other night. Couturier, I thought, was the Flyers' best player
100%.
on the ice.
100%.
I don't know if that's a great thing.
No, you're right.
You know, like
he shouldn't be your best player.
Right.
But he was your best player.
He has been, yeah. And that just talks about probably the biggest problem the Flyers have going right now that's so important is the fact that they just can't seem to get their top guys going offensively.
Yeah.
And that's been hampering them.
100%. And I want to get into that. I just want to wrap up the Cates thing. So on the power play, Talk wasn't as committed to saying who, but he did kind of throw it around and said it's going to be some of the young guys. And he mentioned Mishkov. He mentioned Martone. He mentioned Alex Bump getting an opportunity. I'm not sure who's going to go into what role because I think that they're going to kind of have to jumble it up a little bit here. But it does sound like that they're going to lean on their younger players to try and help the power play. And I think fans have been calling for this for a long time. It's like just play the young guys and see if they can't be worse than what it's been, right?
Right.
So
nothing can be worse than what they've already tried. So
right. Yeah.
It's amazing how that power play continues to let them down.
Unbelievable. Like they were 1 for 7 in game
I
2.
know. I mean, even they were lucky to get one goal. Right?
The goalie gave it
play.
to him. I mean, he poked the puck right to Drysdale, right? Mm-hmm. So like that. And it's amazing, buddy, because how many times did we say it this year that first of all, we felt that the power play would be the reason that they didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
Then they get in, and now they're losing games because the power play just can't score one more goal.
Yeah. That was the problem the other night in that Flyers game. I mean, they had a perfect start to that hockey game, but they couldn't get that third goal.
Yeah.
You know, to really put a nail in the coffin. And that gave Carolina all game to score 2 goals to get it to overtime. That's what the mantra would be. Let's tie the game and see what happens in overtime. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. I mean, you got to feel good with the way Vladar plays in net, that if you score 3 goals, you're probably winning the games.
Right.
I mean, you may not win all of them. I mean, you might lose something 4-3, whatever. But probably about 85% of the time, if you score 3 goals with him in net, you're going to win the game.
Most of the time, yeah.
Right? Like that's really what it comes down to. You just got to get that third goal. And Talk even said, you know, I asked him about this, and he said, we had so many chances where we have a guy right in front of the net with the puck, and it's making the right choice of where to go.
Yeah.
And you have an easy slam dunk goal, and they don't make the right choice.
Yeah.
It hits a stick, it gets deflected, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's frustrating because the play is there. Like, it's drawn up right, and the play is there, and they're just not making that play.
Even going back into overtime, I mean, they had multiple 10-bell chances to end that game.
Oh, my. Overtime
was unbelievable. It was crazy. I mean, how many chances the Flyers had in tight where Anderson made a great save. And then, of course, the one that we'll never forget is the TK breakaway, right? So, I mean, that one really stung. I don't know if he hit the net or if it actually went off of Anderson. They'll probably tell you it hit Anderson, but I'm not sure it did.
I don't think it did. I thought it just went wide.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I think it was just wide.
Yeah,
like I don't think it got credited with a shot on the play. Like I went back and I was keeping an eye because they were pouring it on with shots, and I was thinking, look, you're not going to score on every breakaway, right? So it's not like you're going to sit there and say, oh my God, he needs to score. How bad is it the connecting doesn't score? But make the goalie make a save,
right? You got to force him to
make a save, right? Because you never know if he makes the save, maybe he kicks it right back to you, and then you have an open net. Who knows what happens? It still might not. You might not score, but at least you gave it an opportunity. By missing the net entirely from 10 feet away, that just can't happen. And he took the one thing about Konechny is he will always be accountable. He took it on the chin. He said, I got to score there. It's a different series if I do my job, whatever. All understandable, all appreciated, right? But Travis Konechny is a guy that needs to score more. I know he's got 4 points in the playoffs. It's not great, but it's not terrible. But he needs to be better. And it's just, talked about him and Forster today and said, look, they're not killing us in response like other areas. The guys are responsible. They're doing what they're – and that's all well and good, and I get that. But when you're the guys who are being paid to be the goal scorers, when you're being paid to be the people who are going to carry the team offensively, and all you need is that one more goal and you cannot provide it,
right?
That's where you're coming up short.
Yeah,
in my mind.
And absolutely. And then, that was a big spot in this series.
Yeah.
Was that missed breakaway opportunity. And again, I'm not going to rag a guy because you could take a breakaway and you're going to get stopped probably 80% of the time anyway, right? Based on the odds of you scoring a breakaway goal.
Right.
But you got to give it a better chance. And the fact is he's the highest paid Flyers forward on the team.
Yes.
And that's when your bread is not buttered in the regular season. It's buttered in the playoffs. That's where you make your hay. That's where your name lives in infamy, is what you do in the playoffs, not the regular season.
Correct. And look, I know everybody wants to rip him for the fact he only has 2 goals in 30 playoff games. I get it. The previous 22, right, were at a time when he wasn't – the first time around he was a rookie.
Right.
So, you got to let those slide. And then the other one was in the bubble, right, where it was just a different environment. Like it's a whole different world. That was a whole different world. So I don't really put those first 22 on Konechny. But do I put these 8 on Konechny? 100%.
Yeah.
100%. You are the guy now. You are a team leader. You're supposed to be that offensive player, even more so when your leading goal scorer, Owen Tippett, didn't play in those games.
Right.
Right? Like,
right.
Now you have to be the guy to be the man in that spot.
Yeah.
And that's why I get a little bit more annoyed with the way he's played in the postseason than maybe I would normally.
Yeah, and I understand. I've been in a couple Wawas the last couple days, and people stop me, and the first thing they talk about is Konechny.
Yeah.
It's funny how it goes. Yeah, what's up with Konechny? There's no real answer. I agree with Tocchet's assessment on him, man. Yeah. He's not hurting you in other ways.
No, he's not.
He's not hurting you. He's playing a good brand of hockey. The puck's just not going in the net for him.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with Forster. It's the same thing.
Forster's really in a pickle. I don't think he has a point yet.
No,
right?
he's no points, and he's a -1.
Right.
Right. I actually asked him today, and I said, listen, because somebody else asked him. They said, how do you feel that your game's been going? And he said that, he talked about how tough it was, especially against Pittsburgh. He said, but he's really felt that his last 2 games that he's played a lot better, that he's been better defensively, that he's been good on the penalty kill, things like that. And he's like, hopefully, in one of these next couple games, one of them will go in for me.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of his mentality. And I asked him afterwards, I said, do you really think that way? Like, are you really building on your, little steps along the way and sitting there going, okay, I'm not scoring, but I'm not hurting the team. I'm still helping the team in these other facets. Do you have that in your mindset? Or being a goal scorer, do you sit there and go, man, you squeeze the stick, I need to score?
Yeah.
And he said it's tough out there. He says it's tougher now than it was in the regular season.
Big time.
Right? And so, it's kind of it's the Tocchet line. I'm going to use it. I've never said this phrase before, but Tocchet says it all the time. It's a learning lesson.
Yeah.
And he said the same thing. It was it's a learning lesson
for
him as a player. And he's young, right?
Yeah.
And so he needs to learn how to take that next step.
Yeah.
And that's why they're sticking with him. That's why you don't pull him out of the line.
No, you never take him out of the line of Forster.
Right.
No way. No.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the situation with those guys. And now they come up. Now, one other thing I wanted to talk about from today. Well, 2 things I want to talk about from today. Just remind everybody we're live at Chickie's and Pete's in Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania. We'll be on until 7 o'clock, and we have a hard out at 7, Bundy, because the Sixers are on tonight. You know they want to put the broadcast on here at Chickie's. So a few things more, a few other little nuggets to tie up from today. Owen Tippett practiced today. They're still saying he's game time decision for tomorrow's game 3. That said, and these are like little things that you pick up. You've been around hockey a long time. You know these things. He came off the ice when everybody else that's in the lineup came off the ice.
Yeah.
Right? He didn't stay on with the scratches and the black aces like he did in Carolina.
Yep.
Okay? When he did that in Carolina, he didn't play. So now when he's coming off with the guys who are going to play, that means he's probably in the lineup, right?
Yeah, that would be my guess based on that, on how a guy comes off the ice the day before practice.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's weird. It's been that way since you played,
it's
right?
Weird. Yeah, it's like old hat for people. So I expect him to play tomorrow night. That would be my guess.
I think so too. So I think you're going to see Owen Tippett.
But Talk still calls him day to day.
Talk said it's a game time decision.
Right.
It's day to day game time decision. But just going off of experience and what I know about the way things go with practices, I have a feeling that you're going to see Owen Tippett. Another interesting item, just quickly to tie up a loose end here, because it was a lot of discussion yesterday. It wasn't so much discussion the night of the game, game 2, but it dominated social media yesterday, was that there was a zoomed in video of the game-winning goal for Carolina. And on the play, Dan Vladar gets his glove hit. I think it was Jackson Blake from Carolina that catches him. It was either him or Sean Walker. They were both there. I think it was Blake, though, that catches his glove. And everybody went nuts and said it should have been goaltender interference.
Right.
Why didn't they challenge for goaltender interference? So first thing is you can't challenge because it's an overtime. Right. So it's an automatic review by the league, right? And if you watch the game, Tocchet stays on the bench, Vladar stays in goal. Mm-hmm. They're waiting to see if the NHL wants to call the referees over to review it. Never happens, and game's over, right? So then the video comes out, and everybody's going nuts that it should have been goalie interference. So I asked Dan Vladar about it today, and I said, what do you think? He said, in the moment, I thought it could be interference. In the moment. He said, but after I got a chance to watch the replay and talk about it with the video coaches, it's not. And he says, the reason it's not, he says, although most of my body is still in the crease, my glove is outside of the crease.
Right.
So the players who are all players have the same right to go after the puck that he does outside the blue paint.
Yep.
And so because of that, somebody hitting your stick or bumping you or whatever, it's not interfering with the goalie. It's only interference with the goalie in the crease.
Yep.
And so because of that, it's not a penalty. And that's from Dan Vladar. Said that to me directly today. So everybody can put the conspiracy theories away. They can put away the refs stink, although I do agree the refs stink, but they can put that part away as well. For that particular play, it was not goaltender interference, according to the goalie, who everybody thought was interfered with.
Right.
So there's that. And the last little thing from today is a new arrival was at practice today.
Yeah, Jet Luchenko.
Jet Luchenko was at practice today. Interesting little development there.
Obviously, his team just lost, right?
Brampton just got eliminated in the OHL playoffs. A little bit of a surprise because that team was pretty loaded.
Is it Brampton or Brantford?
Brantford, I'm sorry. Brantford, right. A little surprised. Everybody thought that they were going to go pretty far.
Yeah.
And so immediately they bring him in. And immediately everybody goes nuts and thinks, well, he's going to play. Don't think it's going to happen game 3.
Right.
Do I think that there's a potential for it down the line? Possibly.
Yeah.
And it really would have to depend. So Tocchet said today, he left the door open for it. He's like, look, if you're going to make a long playoff run, your 25th, 26th, 27th guy may have to play at some point.
Right.
I think that if they get down 3-0, then you might see Luchenko, you might see Oliver Bonk give these guys an opportunity to play in an NHL playoff game and see what happens. Right? Got nothing to lose at that point.
Right.
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 But if they win game, they're not going to do it tomorrow. But if they win game 3, it probably gets pushed
off again.
Yeah. I think that's important. And you're also not going to bring a guy in who hasn't been around the team all year after one practice and say, go out there, most important game of the year.
Go get him, Tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, I know that's a tough spot to put a guy in, but he's here for a reason. I know to give him some experience to see what it's like being around the playoffs. He hasn't been around it either.
Right.
But I have a feeling like if it doesn't work out well without Noah Cates in this next game, that you might see Luchenko in game 4.
You could.
Yeah. Possibly.
Yeah, and that's what I said. Like I think the outcome of game 3 will dictate what happens potentially for game 4. All right, we're going to look ahead to game 3. We'll talk a little bit about it. But before we do, I just want to remind everyone that we are at Chickies and Pete's, once again, Drexel Hill. And Chickies and Pete's is the place where we're at for every Snow the Goalie, usually every Wednesday. We've had a couple that have been shifted to other days for schedule purposes, but usually every Wednesday. And we will continue to do them as long as the Flyers are in the playoffs. And we will do one to wrap up the season as well whenever that ends, whether it's next week or sometime in June. We will continue to do them and do a wrap-up show as well. Chickies and Pete's, 17 locations in the Philadelphia area. Great food. Bundy got his classic order today. I know what I went with today, Bundy. They had a special for the Flyers playoffs.
The old hat trick sliders.
I went with today. Little three hamburger sliders. They were awesome. They were really good, so definitely check them out while the playoffs are going on. Like I said, 17 locations all around the Philadelphia area. That doesn't even include the ones at the airport. Russ talks about them when he goes to the airport. He likes to grab some food there at Chickie's and Pete's. I've done it myself in the past. Great spots there, and of course there are 2 locations at the Xfinity Mobile Arena where you can have them in the East Food Hall and outside Section 103. So be sure to check out Chickie's and Pete's wherever you are, whatever in any area in the Philadelphia market that has one. Great food and great environment and great sports. You want to watch the games. TVs out the wazoo. I mean, there's like 9 televisions.
TVs everywhere.
It's great. It's awesome. It's awesome. Great spot. Definitely go Chickie's and Pete's. All right. Before we get to game 3, we have to do the other thing that we do usually at the halfway point of the show every week, and that is to determine who our Payroll Service Solutions Player of the Week is, and that's brought to us by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. Bundy, this is a tough one because they've only played 2 games since last week, and both were losses. I think to me, it's one of 2 players. I'm going to see who you pick, and then I'll tell you if I agree with you or if I have one other guy that could potentially be.
I'm going only one player, and it's the only one guy I have in mind, and that's number 14, Sean Couturier.
Yeah.
I thought he's been brilliant for in the last series. He's been outstanding the first 2 games down in Raleigh. In this series, he's my Payroll Service Solutions Player of the Week.
And I agree with you. And the only other one I was thinking was Barkey, because Barkey in those 2 games, I thought he was their not a lot of guys played well in game 1. I thought Barkey did.
Yeah.
I thought he was their best player in game 1. And he impressed me in game 2 as well.
Yeah.
So like, and impressed me more because he was playing a new position. So that's why I thought he was the second choice behind Couturier. But I agree with you. And I want to talk a little bit about Sean Couturier too, as part of this. Like, we had a situation, Bundy, where, I don't know, you wanted to go back sometime it was right after the Olympic break, maybe late February, where we had a game and we were sitting there talking like, what do you do with Coots?
Right.
Like, what do you do with him?
They were asking themselves the same thing about 4 months ago.
Yeah. What do you do?
Yeah.
Because he just didn't fit in that role that he was in higher up the lineup.
Yeah.
He looked slow on the ice.
Yeah. And
all of a sudden we get to the playoffs and it's like he went back in the time machine.
Yeah.
He climbed into the DeLorean and got it up to
87
miles an hour and went back in time, and he's been that good. I mean, literally that good in these 2 series, especially early in the Pittsburgh series. The first 2 games of the Carolina series, was their best player in game 2. Leads the team in minutes in game 2 too. And he's a 4th line center.
Yeah. 4th
line. It's funny. I've got to put that in air quotes.
Yeah.
Because he's not playing 4th line minutes.
When I spoke to Rick Tocchet last week for about half an hour, and one of the things he told me was, this was no different than his career trajectory when he played. He got called in and said, hey, listen, we got young guys developing here, like Simone Gagne was up and coming when Rick Tocchet was at the end with the Flyers,
right,
his last tour here. And I was on his team with him, and he basically said, you have like a couple roads you can go. You can be really supportive, you can be a good leader for these guys, or you can drag your feet and play for yourself, continue to do what you've always done, right?
Right.
But he said I had to have that same conversation with Couturier, about the fact that we have younger guys that are starting to take those spots in the top 6. So, how do you go about being the most effective player you can be after, for making this change? And he's accepted it. He's adopted it. He's taken it on with full marks. He's not complaining one bit. And as a result, I mean, he's playing his best hockey I've seen him play in quite a few years.
Yeah, and I got to wonder if he enjoys this, right? I haven't had a chance to ask him this. And maybe either I will soon or I'll wait till the end and just kind of ask him. But do you think that a player like that, he's still got 4 years on his contract. He's going to be around for a little bit.
Right.
Do you think a player like that looks at the way he's playing right now and in the role that he's in right now and goes, I kind of like this. I could see myself doing this for a few more years.
Yeah.
Like this and be an effective player.
Yeah.
And be worth it to keep him on the team. And obviously he's a well-respected leader.
He is.
Right. And so whereas a couple of months ago we were talking about, do they buy him out? Do they find a way to trade that salary? What do you do? Now you look at it and say, keep this guy, because if he could play like this, if he could be this for you in the postseason year after year after year, my goodness, that's a big addition to the team.
Yeah, it sure is. And it hasn't taken a ton of his minutes away from where he was before. He's still getting, depends on how he's playing and what the scenarios are, he's still getting 18 to 20 minutes.
He had 24, I think it was in game 2.
Yeah.
I know I went overtime, but still, you got 24 minutes.
Yeah, but say that's 20 after 3 periods.
Yeah.
Right? And that almost went a full period in overtime. But he's reinvented himself with a positive attitude on the ice about how he plays, accepting who he is as a player and what he brings best to a team now at this juncture of his career. He's been unbelievable. He's been really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been really it has been fun. That's the thing, because you kind of always felt bad, right? Because he was always such a good player. Then the 2 back injuries really, really hurt him. Really set him back. He was a shell of himself.
Yeah,
and you felt bad because you knew that this wasn't a player who's a dog or like just I got paid and now I'm just going to just skate through this contract. He was never that guy. You knew he was working his butt off to get back and everything else, and you wanted him to succeed. And you were just kind of at that point where it's like, I feel bad, but yeah, you got to move on. You got to figure out something else to do. And then it came out of the blue.
Yeah.
It came out of the blue, and that's what's made it fun. It's such a pleasant surprise to watch.
Yeah, it's like you picked up another player.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's like you acquired it's like you acquired a depth winger or depth center winger / with Glendening that's ended up being terrific for these last 3.5 months since he's been playing there.
100%. Yeah. So there you go. So Sean Couturier is your Payroll Service Solutions Player of the Week, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today, 1-866-PAY-EASY. For all, if you have a small or medium-sized business, they can help you with all of your payroll needs. Once again, you can call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. All right, Bundy, Game 3 tomorrow night. We have a must-win, right? Situation.
Must-win game. Yeah.
Do you think? Again, young team. There's some veterans, but young team. If a young team plays the way it played in game 2 and loses that game and, as a gut punch as what that was, do you feel like that they just go, oh, we can't win now? Or do they look at it and go, you know what? Damn, we were that close. We almost had it. We were the better team in a playoff game than the number 1 seed in the conference. Now we're coming home. We're going to go out there and do it again, and we're going to take that game, and then all of a sudden we have all the momentum.
Yeah, they can take back all the momentum with 1 win tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And then you put more pressure on Carolina to try. They're the team that's supposed to win the series. Everybody's picking them in 5 games, 6 games, mostly 5 I've seen Carolina in. But no, this is the Flyers season tomorrow. Let's make no mistake about it. If they lose that game, they're done.
Right.
They're finished. They're not coming back from 0-3.
Right.
Against Carolina. Stranger things have happened, but I just don't see it happen.
Right. I'm not confident they're coming back from 0-2 because you got to beat them 4 out of 5, right?
Yeah.
So I think that game 2 was the ultimately when we look back at this series will be the game that decided this series, right? Yeah. But I'm with you. I even though I'm the guy who picked Carolina in 5, I sit there and say, you win this game, you make it a series. I think you can get back into the series. I'm still not sure they can win it, but I still think maybe you can go more than 5 games.
Yeah.
If you win tomorrow night.
Yeah, and it has to be tomorrow night. They have to have their A game tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And they have got to figure out a way to get that 1 win. That's all they're worried about. The Flyers should treat it like they're down 3-0 right now.
Yeah.
And be laser focused on 1 game at a time.
Yeah.
And that's it. Don't look beyond that. Just look in the moment to that 1 single game that you're about to play, and that's tomorrow night at 8:00.
Yeah, and it's funny, Bunny, because we all get mad at cliches, but the cliches are what matter right now, right? 1 game at a time, 1 period at a time, 1 shift at a time. That's important right now for the Flyers. They have to play that way. They can't think ahead. They can't think, oh, well, if this happens, then they have to really be that hyper-focused, uber-focused on what they're doing every time that they step on the ice.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. You got to be laser-focused on the job at hand because there's not a lot of room for error. There's just not a lot. You can't give a lot back to Carolina because the one thing with that team, they make you pay for your mistakes.
Yes.
They really make you pay for being dumb with the puck or making bad mistakes. I think the Flyers, one thing that they can do a better job of tomorrow night is shoot the puck more.
Mm-hmm.
They did it a little bit more in overtime, but I think they're trying too many backdoor plays and soft area plays that aren't there, they're getting knocked down by Carolina or they're getting a stick on the ice to block them. The Flyers need to have more of a shooting mindset tomorrow and then attack the front of the net.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that because I think that they learned a little bit of something from the overtime. Like they dictated play in overtime.
They did all the way through.
The entirety.
Yep.
I know Carolina had 7 shots, but whatever. But it was all Flyers in overtime.
Yeah.
And that's how, if they could take that and channel that into game 3,
yep,
you're going to win the game.
That's what I was thinking.
That's the recipe.
Night. Yeah, absolutely. Even when I was watching them play, I said to myself, no matter what happens in this game, this is what you have to bottle right here.
Yeah.
And then bring it out next game.
Yeah.
That's the kind of way you have to play against it. Because for the first time in that series, and for the first time I've seen Carolina play the Flyers all year, they were the ones that didn't have a clue what was going on.
Right.
They didn't know how to defend it. They weren't able to stop it. And the Flyers kept coming at them in wave after wave.
What do you think, like if we were to break it down tactically, what do you think the Flyers did differently in overtime that they didn't do in the first 5 periods in this series?
Well, they shot the puck a lot more.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing that they did. They shot the puck more. They used their speed. They made really sharp plays to the front of the net. I know Mishkov had that great chance, a slap shot there or the wrist shot that broke the stick.
Yep.
I mean, that was going in the back of the net.
That was a goal.
That was a goal.
That was a goal if it doesn't hit the stick.
So, I mean, no, they did a lot better things, but they really played with pace. They really made Carolina have to defend, which they're not used to doing that often. But that was the formula. I mean, can you do that for a whole 60 minutes? Probably not.
Right.
You know, that's a really, really you have to have a lot of luck to play like that, and you have to have a complete willingness and a laser focus to play like that for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
It's hard just with the ebbs and flows of how a hockey game goes.
It is tough. But one thing, and it's interesting because I try to pay attention. You know, I asked talking about this down in Carolina after game 1, what he needed to see them do, and he said, we got to stop worrying about pressure. In other words, he said, I want to attack pressure with pressure.
Right.
Right. And I was trying to figure out what the heck that meant. Like, what do you mean attack? And it's almost like 2 rams coming at each other to headbutt each other. Right. Mm-hmm. And he says, you see someone coming at you to defend you, go through them.
Right.
Don't skate away and try and find new time and space, because all you're doing is you're creating an opportunity for them to reset their defense again and come after you again. Yeah. Right. He said if you go through them, and he says you might get hit, you might get slashed, you might have to get into a board battle, but if you win it and go through, now all of a sudden somebody else has to come over and defend you.
Yes.
And now you've opened up the other side of the ice.
Yep, that's exactly right.
And so that's kind of what he's saying. And this is that whole play north and south mentality.
Yep.
Right? It's not trying to get cute or trying to find the perfect pass. It's just go. Just go and go through this team. And if you do, you get them out of sync. And to be fair, the Carolina Hurricanes are not a team that takes a lot of penalties. They took 7.
Yeah, they did.
They gave you 7 power plays.
A couple of them, but 3 of them were kind of like there was 2 of them that were over the glass.
Yeah.
Delay of game, and then there was a high sticking.
That was
right.
Yeah.
That was kind of like iffy.
Iffy, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, So I mean, you take away 3 of those power plays in that game, and you're talking about more of a normal set tone.
Yeah.
With 4 penalties in a game.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was interesting to see, because that's exactly what Talk was talking about after game 1, and how they did it, and I was like, he's right. Like, this works.
Yeah.
This absolutely works.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's a little bit of a challenge to do that for a full 60-minute game. You have to pick and choose your times. It's almost like when here's the comparison that I can, best way I can compare it maybe. Think of it like an auto race on a road course. And what I mean by that is when you're on the straightaway, right? There's a period of time when you're on that straightaway where you could floor it. Right. But then when you got to go into these turns, right, you got to slow it down a little bit, right? Navigate and then get back onto the next straightaway and floor it again. So maybe there are times within the game where you push, pull back to kind of let the body reset a little bit.
Yeah, and I think Carolina does a great job of that.
Yeah.
What you just said. But they've played together for a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of these bodies, right? Like, they really are well drilled. Brendan Moore's coached them well. They've been together a long time, so they already have that built into them already.
Roddy, they play like he played, don't they?
They do. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to not give it 100% when the guy that you're playing for gave 110%.
Right.
whether it was off the ice, I mean, the stories with Rod Brindamore are legendary.
Yeah.
The workouts after games, guys were out having a beer. He was back in the gym working out again because he didn't like his game that night and he played 25 minutes, but that's who he is. He's
right.
a workhorse. He's a guy committed to his trade. And so he's going to have his players are going to follow suit like that and play like him.
Yeah.
At least attempt to play with the heart and passion he played with.
Yeah. I mean, I know we'll save picks for Press Row Show tomorrow night, which will be me and you and intern Andrew to start because, Russ has this multiple day thing that he's got going on.
Really disappointing.
Really, yeah. By the way, did you know? I don't know if anybody in the chat has noticed this, but we don't have Russ on the show, and it doesn't get off the rails. We just sit here and talk straight hockey for an hour.
Yeah, we're not talking about him. We're talking about his Russ Joy show and something else. Yeah, so it's all good.
It's all good. So be me.
And we got Andrew tomorrow night to lead it off. So.
Yeah, Andrew will lead us off, and then Russ will join us at intermission tomorrow. He will be there, but he'll be late. A couple other things I wanted to kind of get into away from the Flyers a little bit. First thing is we had the draft lottery yesterday. Now, this kind of affects the Flyers a little bit, so I do want to talk about it from this perspective. So the draft lottery happens last night, and lo and behold, the Toronto Maple Leafs win the draft lottery.
Isn't that crazy?
Right? So the second year in a row that two teams that got the first and second pick were further down the list, right? Last year, the Islanders jumped up from 11 to 1, and then Utah jumped up from, I think it was 8 or 9 to 2.
Yep.
This year, the Maple Leafs went from 5 to 1, and the San Jose Sharks went from 9 to 2.
Yeah.
So, the worst teams 2 years in a row have lost out. Yeah, that's something for you to pay attention to, you tank fans, especially now that you get to see the actual drawing on television, right? It can't just say, "Oh, we did it in some back room," and you just have to trust us. But what that means is, and this is to be determined. Still, the league has to weigh in on it. But I'm pretty confident from what I've been told that the Flyers will now get Toronto's first-round pick in 2027 unprotected.
Yep.
Okay? I know that Boston's kind of in this mix too, and there has been, if you go to Puckpedia, they're saying that the Maple Leafs will have a choice of which team to give it to, and the other one has to take 2028. But from what the Flyers are understanding, and I believe what the league is going to side with the Flyers on this.
Because Boston's the other team.
Yes. Since the Flyers made the trade first.
Yep.
That they will get the 27 pick and Boston will get the 28 pick.
Okay.
Is what it seems like. So now what the interesting thing is, and I want to get into what Toronto did with their management too. We're going to talk about that for a minute. But the interesting thing now is Toronto gets the first overall pick. Do they try to get good again right away next year? Or are they going to be bad again and then that pick is another
top five pick. Yeah,
right?
Where they go in the lottery.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think it's the most fascinating thing. You know we are big Chief. I know you are a big Chief fan. I'm a big Chief fan. I think he's a hell of a coach. But I will tell you that I do not think the way Chief coaches fits with what they decided to do with their GM.
Yeah, their GM is an analytics guy.
Complete
total analytics.
100% doesn't even watch the game, just goes by what he sees on his computer.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
John Chickie, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't see it as a good fit. So how he's going to construct his team is not necessarily going to be a good fit for Craig Berube as the coach.
How could Toronto have hired John Chickie, a guy who hasn't even been around the league in 6 years? 6 years he hasn't been around the NHL at all. At all.
Well, he got suspended for a year for conduct detrimental to the league.
Yeah.
And then he also got when he was GM of the Coyotes, they got fined for tampering.
Yeah.
There's all kind and then the best part about it, Bundy, you sent it around too, but that interview when Steve Simmons is asking the question.
Yeah.
It says, I talked to 20 people around the league and 19 of them think your guy is a scam artist.
Scam artist. And he goes, and then the owner was Pelly said,
"Yeah,
well, you talked to the wrong 20 people.
You talked to different people than me, or whatever."
Right. But he's like, yeah, I don't know how people get jobs like this and keep their jobs and then they get retreaded. But why would you ever hire a guy who hasn't been around for 6 years and only does analytics?
Yeah,
he's got no pulse of a player or what that inner working of that player brings to a table. It's just what the stats on a piece of paper say.
Yeah, and the other thing that's fascinating is they bring back Matt Sundin. Now, Matt Sundin, great player, great guy, great humanitarian, like really big, like that's the connection to the past.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the Flyers did here, and I get it, and I understand it, but he doesn't have a specific role there. It's kind of like a hybridized, he's not the president of hockey operations. He's just kind of like this special consultant to the GM, like whatever the heck his title is. I don't know. So nobody really knows what he's going to do, but he's been out of hockey for even longer.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't even worked in hockey.
He doesn't even know anybody in the league.
Like, like it's a fascinating thing. And so now we find Philadelphia fans are going to be rooting for Toronto to be awful next year.
Yeah, and it'll be like rooting for the Flyers, except you're rooting against Toronto with that same passion. Yeah.
It's absolutely wild that is taking place. I don't know what they're thinking in Toronto. I really don't. Could you imagine that circus here?
No.
Like if the Flyers did something like that.
Like if they redid that again after the last administration we had here.
Yeah.
Imagine like retreading that again.
That's exactly what it would be like. It would be like bringing that group back around.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know what? Let's go Dave Scott, Val Camillo again. Let's bring them back.
Yeah, they did such a great job last time.
That's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
And bring back Chuck Fletcher while we're at it. Like the whole group. Like just bring them all back. Bring Hackstall back as the coach. Bring everybody back. Like let's experience that again. That's what this is. So there are a lot of people, Bundy, who feel like the NHL still, even though you're watching the lottery balls come out, we do know from past history.
People feel that thing's rigged, don't they?
Well, so we do know that there was a rigging of a lottery once with balls like that, where they can put a certain paint or material on their liquefied thing on the ball.
Who rigged the lottery?
I think it was PA, as a matter of fact. I think
really?
It happened in Pennsylvania. Somebody in the chat will tell me exactly when it happened. I'm pretty sure it was in like the early 80s. Okay. If I remember correctly.
Oh, so it was for an actual lottery.
It was an actual lottery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an actual lottery.
Oh, I thought you were talking about sports lottery.
Oh, no. Well, we, there was the whole frozen, when the very first lottery in the NBA where the Knicks envelope was in the freezer, and so when they reached in to pull out an envelope, it was the only cold one. Right. It's the only cold one. Right. So there's that whole thing.
To get Patrick Ewing, right?
Right, to get Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody feels like there it is. Brian Knowlton says it was the 1980 PA lottery. So that's what that had happened, where they rigged it. And it was with the balls coming out of the machine, just like it up there.
Yeah.
We've seen this now 2 years in a row in sports. Like last year, there was a lot of people who felt like the NBA might have rigged it for Dallas after they screwed up with the whole Luka Doncic thing. Does Toronto, because of they're the biggest market in Canada, they had this whole debacle with their GM situation. Do they make it so that the Toronto Maple Leafs are good again quick? Do you buy into any of this conspiracy stuff?
I don't.
I don't either.
I first of all, my biggest issue would be, do you think the NHL or the NBA or any league for that matter would put a multi-billion-dollar asset in jeopardy and at risk of having a fake lottery system going on for your draft?
Could you imagine like the scandal that would be?
That would be incredible.
If somebody unearthed a sports league fixing a lottery.
Yes.
Like
that would be insane.
It would take down sports.
It would take down sports. It would be the be-all, end-all of sports.
It would take down everything. If that happened.
Yeah.
If they were rigging things for certain teams to win, it would because of the money.
But it's sure funny to look at the things and say like last night I wrote down, I think I said on X, I'm like, only in Toronto, like this is classic.
Yes.
That they win the lottery after all they've gone through, after hiring the GM they just hired. They win the lottery.
I know. It
looks funky, right?
It absolutely looks funky. Here you go. So thanks to Jay Brace 0860, April 24th, 1980, they poked holes in the 6 and 4 balls, then bought all combos of 4s and 6s. So the person who was responsible they did it, and so that they knew that the ball would come up because of the air going through it.
Yeah,
I knew it was something like that. There you go. And those numbers came up, and that's how they won the lottery.
Wow,
isn't that wild?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Who figured that out? That's unbelievable. Somebody came to figure it out.
there are so many scams in the world. People are always trying to figure out scams, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's got a thing. Everybody's got something that they're trying to figure out. All right. So let's look at this. Let's look at the rest of the playoffs right now. We have about 10 minutes left in the show. Just kind of like go around the league, around what's going on. First thing, let's start with the ones that have started already. Colorado, man. I don't think there's a team that can stop them. I just don't. I think that they're going to roll through this thing. Like, Minnesota played a great series against Dallas.
They did.
And Colorado has set a record
Yep.
with 14 goals in the first 2 games against them. It's an NHL record for most goals in the first 2 games of a playoff series. That first game was absolutely bonkers, 9-6.
Yeah.
Right? Like, is there a team left that you look around this league and you go, oh, that's a team that's got the defensive system in place that can stop Colorado?
I'm not taking a shot at the Flyers here or where they're at in the situation.
Yeah.
But a Carolina-Colorado final would make for some good viewership.
That's probably what it's going to be.
It could be, or Buffalo, maybe.
Yeah.
If it ends up going that way,
yeah.
I think Buffalo's a very good team.
Yeah,
they really play well and play better than even people thought they were playing. But I think Colorado is just a juggernaut.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, they can score. They defend well. They got a good special teams. They got a good everything.
The only thing they don't have,
lights out goaltending.
Yeah, I mean Wedgwood's not great. So if you get a couple behind them, you can put a little bit of pressure on them. But that's it. I mean, but even Minnesota. I mean, they got that 3-0 lead. Colorado gets out to a 3-0 lead in game 1, and then Minnesota storms back and takes the lead.
Yeah,
and you're like, all right, they're done. They're dead. Colorado just gave up. They're going to blow this first game, and they're like, yeah, no problem. We'll go out and score. We'll go out and score 6 more goals. No big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. They're quite the juggernaut. They really have a lot going for them, and they have Makar and McKinnon are at the top of their game right now.
McKinnon's best player in hockey.
Yeah, he's a great player.
I don't care what anybody says. If you gave me one player to start my team,
you'd pick McKinnon
over
McDavid?
Over McDavid.
Wow.
And McDavid might be more talented. He might be a more talented offensive player, but McKinnon's got a killer instinct that is unmatched in this sport. And I think that with his talent combining with that, I would take Nathan McKinnon to start my team over anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and so Minnesota goes home in the same predicament the Flyers are, and they lost both games on the road.
Yeah.
They need to go home and win that one game 3. That just focus on trying to win that one game. Minnesota's got a great hockey team.
They do have a good hockey team.
They have a really good hockey team. They're just down 2-0 against a better team.
Against a team.
It's like the Flyers. The Flyers have a good hockey team, but they're just down to a team that's really been on laser mode for quite some time now.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Tonight, game 2 of Ducks Vegas Golden Knights. Golden Knights are up 1-0 in that series. They're probably going to win that series. I don't think Anaheim's a very good.
Don't count them out yet.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm going to say give Anaheim a chance.
Okay.
I think they can make something of this series. I don't think Vegas. I think they're playing out of just sheer fear when they've changed torts. And they're just playing for their their lives right now in hockey because he probably has it feeling like it's so dire.
Yeah.
If you guys lose, this is all going to hell.
Right.
In a handbasket. So
and you might be right about that. I don't think Anaheim. I think Vegas is just got better. There's more depth on that team in my mind. I think Anaheim's young. They got great offensive talent. I don't think they're very good defensively. I don't like their goaltending.
No, they're not good defensively. I don't love their goaltending.
Yeah.
They have a lot of good young players. They're a lot like the Flyers in a lot of ways.
Yeah, a lot of good young forwards.
Yeah.
But I just think Vegas, a little bit more experience, I think is probably going to come through.
Yeah, I think so too at the top of the lineup. And Jack Eichel's been terrific.
Yeah. And then you got Buffalo and Montreal starting tonight. Bundy, I don't think I've ever seen anything like I saw Game 7 Montreal-Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that was a wild game, wasn't it? Tampa just completely dominated Montreal.
It's from start to finish. That was as good a game as a team could play and lost.
Yeah, they were perfect. And like John Cooper said after, I've been on the right side of the hockey gods many times.
Yeah.
They favored my side, but tonight they just did not favor us tonight.
Yeah,
and that's the way it went.
My favorite quote of his after the game was, you can win the game and not win the score.
That's true.
And that's exactly what they did.
That's very true, yeah.
They held the Canadians to 9 shots on goal.
John Cooper's done that twice this year.
Yeah.
In Team Canada, won the game, but didn't win the score.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then did it in Game 7 against Montreal.
So anyway, so Montreal's a little bit of a surprise to me. I didn't think they had a shot to beat Tampa. Good on them. They played a really good series, and then they got away with one in Game 7. Fine. I'm with you on Buffalo now. I would have picked Tampa if it was Tampa-Buffalo, but with Buffalo-Montreal, I don't know if Montreal can get lucky twice. I think Buffalo's the better team there, and they're probably going to come away in that series.
I think Buffalo's the better hockey team. I think they're going to beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're I mean, they've got a lot. But Buffalo, when they turned that corner back in November, I mean, they really had a lot of guys rear their heads. Guys that hadn't made a scene before, like Matthias Samuelsson came on.
Yeah.
Tage Thompson got better. A lot of younger guys got better. Doan, Norris. They've had a lot of guys really step up to the plate. And I don't know what happened, but it was like somebody turned a key, and that happened overnight.
It did. Yeah. And that's, and look, I think that there's a lot of good talent in Montreal too. That
big time. They're the youngest team in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, like I think there's a lot of good talent there as well. I just don't know if they're ready yet. And I'll get, I think Marty St. Louis has done a heck of a job.
He sure has.
As a coach there.
Yep.
Really, really has done a great job. And, you look around the league and you say, not every time when you have a former player go on, get behind the bench, especially a guy who was a star type of player, like being a coach, it doesn't always translate. Right. I mean, the grinders who played, or, the guys who were, who had to work their tail off to stay in the league, who end up becoming coaches. You could see that a little bit more because they're very cerebral. They have to think about, how do I survive in this league? What do I have to do? So you can see why they're good thinkers and they're good strategists. It's not the star players when they go on to become coaches. It's like, well, what are you really thinking out there? Like, your talent is just so top notch. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, it's just, it's not so easy to just kind of explain why you were a great player and why that should translate to the team that you're coaching. That's why Gretzky was never a good coach.
Right.
So, like, it's the same kind of thing. And so, like, I was a little skeptical at first about Marty St. Louis. Not anymore. Like, I think he's done a really nice job.
Yeah, you have to change that mantra of you being a star player as a player to you being a player's coach.
Yes.
Right, where you got to take that whole stigma off and not wear it anymore, because the players, they'll respect the fact that you were a star player, but that's not the selling point anymore. It's you being a good coach. That's what sells the player.
Right. And they're going to buy into what you're saying because they know that you've been there, done that. Right. But you can't have that air about you.
Yeah.
Right. You have to come down to their level. You have to, ground yourself a little bit. And it seems like he's done that. They seem to enjoy having him as a coach. He's very, very good with the players in the locker room.
Did the Wolf of Wall Street
the whole Wolf of Wall Street thing, right?
We're not leaving.
Yes, that's great. It was so good, so good. So yeah, I think they're going to be a tough team in the future. But I agree with you that I think Buffalo is the team that's going to win that series.
There's a lot of up and coming young teams in the East: Philadelphia, Buffalo, Montreal. I'll leave Tampa and Florida out of it right now because I still think they're an aging group with some good young players.
Yeah.
But Philadelphia, Buffalo, and Montreal, I mean, they're there. They're loaded with young talent.
Yeah, I agree. And it'd be interesting to see what happens. Bundy, last thing before we wrap this thing up. We saw Dan Vladar steal Game 6 against Pittsburgh. Like, he was sensational. I thought he was really good in Game 2 as well. He makes 40 saves, whatever, and they still lose the game in overtime. Does he have to be the guy that steals Game 3, or does somebody else have to come in? And does the other players have to come in and win one for the Flyers?
I think he needs to be really good.
Yeah.
I think he's really going to have to come in and be on top of his game for the Flyers to win tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I really feel like that. Just the way Carolina goes, like, they're a better team than Pittsburgh.
Yes.
They can score in more ways than Pittsburgh could score. So I really think in a situation like that, in a game that you have to win, your goaltender's got to be your best player.
Agreed. Well, that'll do it for us here on Snow the Goalie. Thank you for tuning in on this episode. We will be live at Xfinity Mobile Arena tomorrow night for Game 3 for the Press Row Show. Pre-game, first and second intermission if there's overtime, and then the post-game show with me, intern Andrew, Bundy, And then Russ will join us at some point. So be sure to tune in. Thanks to everyone here at Chickies and Pete's of Drexel Hill. We will be back next week at a different Chickies and Pete's. We won't know yet where or what day, because it all depends on what happens in this series. But as soon as we know, we will let you know. Thanks to Chris Ermer, our engineer, and intern Andrew for pushing all the right buttons. And we will talk to you tomorrow night for Game 3 of the Eastern Conference semifinals between the Flyers and the Carolina Hurricanes. Thank you, everyone. Have a great